Hey, friends. Welcome back to the Purpose Box. I am Chantal, and I'm so glad that you pressed play today. Really. Because on this episode, it's for the ones who've been waiting, whether it's waiting for the perfect timing, waiting to feel ready, waiting until things make more sense. But deep down, you know what's in your heart is real. And you just needed a reminder that God already placed within you is still enough to begin. So let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So I've been thinking a lot lately about how we talk ourselves out of starting. It's like it's almost automatic, right? Some of us may say to ourselves, I need more time. I don't have enough clarity. I'm still figuring things out. But here's the thing, when I first got started, I literally had none of that. I was working at a 7-Eleven, juggling school, completely unsure of what business even meant. Though my mom was like an entrepreneur, she inspired me, but my plan was not to become an entrepreneur. My plan was to get my degree in medicine, become a doctor, and live happily ever after. Simple. However, when I got that instruction from God, that changed everything. I didn't have a launch plan. I definitely did not have a coach. But what I did have was a laptop that I used for school. I had some faith and I had this pull to help people, even though at the time I just was not clear on what that was yet. But that was all it was. That's all I had to start with. And now, years later, I'm still growing. But looking back, I can say with full confidence that what I had in that season was already enough to begin. And so let's pause for a second and talk about that phrase, enough to begin. Like, what does that even mean? Because when people say they're waiting to start, 9 times out of 10, it's not because they don't care. It's because they've convinced themselves they don't have enough. Not enough time, not enough followers, not enough money or tools or strategy. But here's what I've learned, the beginning doesn't require all of that. The beginning just needs, be honest with yourself and just a little bit of courage. In the Bible, it says you just need to have faith as little as a mustard seed. And have you guys ever paused to look at what a mustard seed look like? Right? That's how much he's required of you. And another thing that you don't need is 10 steps ahead. You just need to take one step forward with what's already in your hand. And so let me break it down for you. Let me show you a few ways in which you can, get started. And some of the things that I'll be sharing with you, it still helps me today, especially in those seasons where things may feel messy or uncertain at times. And so here's it. Give your idea structure, even if it's small. This could look like blocking off 90 minutes on a Saturday to brainstorm, or starting a Google Doc, or buying your domain name. Starting isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just quiet and intentional. Two, I want you to be okay with the first version just being rough. My first logo, rough. My first website, very DIY. I literally built my website on Vistaprint. Yeah, I don't like talking about it. But here's the thing, I started. And because I started, I could learn. You can't refine what you never release. Three, I want you guys to stop disqualifying yourself because it doesn't look like someone else's beginning. Your assignment is yours. You don't need a huge platform to make an impact. You just need to honor what you've been given and move with it. And so, yes, let's just pause to address the elephant in the room, and that is the timeline pressure. Yes. If you've ever looked around and thought, everyone else is further along. I want to be the voice that says, you are not behind. What God gave you does not expire. You didn't miss it. The calling is still active. And beginning doesn't mean you're claiming to have it all figured out. It just means you're making the decision to stop shrinking what you carry, to stop hiding it behind when I'm ready. Because ready is just a decision. It's actually not a destination. And so I want to slow down here and ask you something real, okay? What's the thing you've been quietly carrying that you haven't acted on? What's the idea you keep revisiting in your mind but keep pushing to someday? That idea that popped up, I want you to write it down and I want you to name it. Now, ask yourself this. What's one way I can begin this week? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. It just needs to be a first step. And so, I want to reiterate this. You do not have to be more impressive. You do not need to be validated by anyone. You just need to believe that what God placed within you, however small or scattered it feels right now, is still enough to begin. That belief, that obedience, that's where the shift happens. And so, I just want to thank you guys for hanging with me today. If this episode stirred something in you, send it to someone else who's been sitting on something. And if you're taking your first step this week, DM me. I'd love to cheer you on. Remember, friends, this is your season to build, and it starts right here with what you have right now. And so, see you next time on the Purpose Box.